Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, where food and fitness come to hang out. Nutrition, training, and life. It's all fair game on Meathead Test Kitchen.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, a podcast where we encourage you to be okay with change. I'm Sadie.
I'm Sausha.
Today we're going to spend some time discussing how it's okay for things to change, how to accept new seasons in your life, and what change could look like for you just in your life and overall in like your fitness journey.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to talk about how it relates to you in fitness because that's what we do
That's
here.
what we're here for.
Welcome back to the garage.
Hello.
It's like
it is a
how hot is it
swampy
today?
Beast today. The high
Let's go to the mini supercomputer.
is supposed to be 97 with like 60% humidity.
It's already 92 and feels like 101. We are recording this episode at 1 p.m.
So for those of you who watch us on YouTube, again, I'm going to reference my emotional support toilet paper sweat blotter. Like, leave me alone.
It's sweaty hot. Betty.
It's fine.
It's hot. I didn't wear makeup. Nobody gives a fuck.
I ran this morning and then didn't stop sweating for a full hour afterwards. So, like, whatever.
I saw the boomerang of you wringing out your sweatband. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was at 9:30 this morning. So, it was hot then and humid.
I woke up at 10 and it was like hot saran wrap when I came outside. I was just like
I will be going back inside. Okay. And then I filled up my gas tank and that was just a fucking treat.
Your soul is crushed.
Yes. What a day.
Thoughts and prayers to your wallet.
Yeah. So the whole entire reason that like we were kicking back and forth ideas for what to do this week, and I recently just completely changed my programming. I'm training again for Market to Market, which if you're new here or didn't listen to last year's episode around this time, Market to Market is a relay race from Exarban in Omaha.
Which is Nebraska backwards.
Yes, it is. If you did not know that, now you know. To Lincoln, downtown Lincoln, Nebraska, which is around 68 miles. It's a relay.
And we wake up at like 5 in the morning and we crammed in last year. It was
a minivan.
Fucking minivan because we were idiots. And our boss told us, Gorman was like, yo, you need to get your rental as soon as humanly possible. As soon as
we didn't even commit to do it.
Exactly. We didn't
until like 2 months before the event.
Like this time last year. Yeah.
The
it was
vans
summer.
were gone.
All the vans were gone. So this year I reserved our van the day 1 year out from it because that's the soonest that like Avis would let me reserve it. So I reserved it a year out and we got the fucking 15 passenger van. So we're going to be rolling in style this year.
I don't like wearing swampy gear. We're
going to have a changing area. We're going to have room for multiple
Last year I had to like
I might put an air mattress
and like
back there.
Squeeze down and like you're already sweaty, so trying to put fucking spandex back on, it was not a good time. The event was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It was fun. There's 9 of us in a van this year. It's going to be a fucking blast. But
no, there's 10. We have 7 runners.
Yes.
Oh, 7 plus you two. Okay. I was not counting myself in the 7.
No.
Okay. Anyway, 9. Math. Haha. I'm not a math major. We are here to talk about fitness and nutrition. So, but
anyway.
the whole impetus behind this, because then after Market to Market is the Lincoln Half-C, which is a half marathon, but it's like 2 weeks after that. So it's like, hey, you know what? Might as well just do both. So I've committed.
Time to run, motherfucker.
And I'm not sure how many of our listeners are familiar with Amigo the Devil, but you should check him out.
I feel like that's a very niche.
It is. If you like music, just go find him and listen to it. But anyway, a line in his song that always has stood out to me is "Change is all right." It's a great song, but aside from that line, it's not. It's a pretty depressing song.
I was talking to Phil about this today. We were listening to something. Oh, we were listening to fucking satellite radio this morning, and Eve Six was doing this show about how when they toured, and they were like, I was born in the late 1900s, and back in the day, before Stacy's mom was what Fountains of Wayne were known for, and Phil's like, they just don't do it for me. And I'm like, look, you also don't like Weezer, but I love songs that sound happy but are super fucking depressing when you actually
This is not even a happy sounding song. But he's folky and used to be in a hardcore band. He's amazing. Anyway.
What band was he in?
I don't remember. But the line, change is all right, always sticks out to me because it is all right. Change is an inevitable part of being alive.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah.
As I Google what band he was in, because it's going to fucking bug me.
Oh.
Associated acts on Wikipedia. Let's go. No, change is good because change is what pushes you to be different. And we've talked about that before. Like, there's nothing wrong with growing. You're supposed to change. I've quoted that line in basketball a million times because it's fucking true. Coop and Reamer, you guys haven't changed since high school.
Yeah.
Cool. No, it's not. It's not. You don't want to be the same fucking person you were half a lifetime ago. When I think about literally half a lifetime ago, I was 17. I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I would not want to be in the same room with me 17 years ago.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like, honestly, don't know how somebody didn't fucking murder me.
Yeah, the same.
I was such a dumb bitch. Oh my God. Like, the worst. I still can't figure out what fucking band this guy was in. But either way, don't be the same person that's stuck in your rut forever. I know that it can be comfortable in said rut, but that's not how you grow and progress as a person.
Right. Yeah. And you know, we talk about change, but I don't say like every single episode, but like I don't think we've taken an actual episode and really talked about it. Maybe we did like a year ago, but not in depth like we're going to do today. So like we just thought it was really at this point in time very prevalent and topical because of what we were both going through. Obviously very different, but Sadie's coming back from injury, and obviously that's a big change, and I've just changed up my programming. So
yeah, it's been well, I'm going to talk more about it in a minute, but humbling to say the least to have to come back to a rehab plan versus being able to do what we usually do, which is fucking throw 150 pounds on a barbell and throw it on my back, no problem.
Right.
Hit it for reps.
Yeah.
NBD.
Yeah.
I did 3 sets of 10 quarter squats would be generous.
Hell yes.
Generous.
Hey.
But I did them, and I didn't think I could break a sweat doing such little work before, but here we are.
But
But yeah, no, I rode a bike for the first time this week. That was cool. I was really scared.
Yeah.
He was like, you can get it. You're really close. You're super close. And I'm like, Phil's like sitting right here, and I'm on the recumbent bike, and I have a mask on, and he can just see my eyes, and I'm like, I'm scared. I'm scared to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what I did? I nutted up and I pushed through the goddamn thing, and my leg went backwards, and I rode a bike backwards for 8 minutes.
Yes.
Like, push yourself off the fucking ledge sometimes in a good way.
Yes.
In a good way. Take the leap of faith. Don't just jump off the roof.
Yes.
Like,
and like I said, I've like completely changed up my training regimen, like completely. I was doing pretty much strictly powerlifting for probably since February, so a while, about 6 months. And I achieved the goals that I wanted to in this time frame. And now I'm working through the process of literal mindset shift.
You're getting used to being a thick runner again.
Yeah. Yes. And I legit last week I took the entire week off. I didn't do anything because I was like, okay, like I've got to get out of powerlifting.
I know how hard that had to be for you, and I'm glad you did it.
But it was necessary because then I came to this week and I'm like, all right, we got this. Like, you already have a plan. You know what you're going to do. You know how often you're going to be running. You know how much you're going to be running for the next 15 weeks. Like, you're good.
Well, and it really
because you have to taper off. Like, lifting when running is like necessary. Like, you need to be lifting if you're running.
Yes.
But not near, like, you're not going to be lifting 4 days a week because you're running 3 days a week.
Yeah, you're going to be lifting like 1 to 2 days a week.
Yeah, and at like 75% of max.
Yeah, you're not going to be 1 rep maxing if you're training for distance running for sure.
No, you're not.
But like, it's necessary to reset like that sometimes because last week you really got to analyze and decide what you were going to put in place for this week and moving forward. Like, you're not already focusing on how shitty your training felt today and then thinking about what your training's going to be like next week.
Right.
Like, give yourself the mental space to like lay it all out on the floor and then piece it back together. And
nothing like awful is going to happen to you if you need to take a week off.
No.
Like, nothing. You know, if anything,
I took a year off. I had to take a year off because I was trying to avoid having surgery, which I had to fucking have anyway. So it's like, even when you try to do things the right way, sometimes you still need to take a break.
Yes.
And it's okay to take a break.
It's totally fine. It's like legitimately normal.
We live in the time of the grind culture where, like, don't sleep, whatever. I can sleep when I'm dead, which is true, but you're going to be dead sooner if you don't sleep now.
Yep.
So there's that trade-off.
Well, and if you think that you see, like, the influencers and shit that you see online, if you think that they don't take breaks or do deload weeks, they're just not sharing that with you.
Grind culture is a fucking joke.
Like, you don't have somebody who's prepping for a fucking power building like competition and they are doing that all of the time, no. They need an off season.
Yeah,
they need a break.
The grind never stops isn't true, because the grind has to stop when you can't grind anymore. And if all you know is how to grind, it's going to end at some point because it isn't sustainable.
Yep.
Like, not a popular
We talked
opinion,
about that before. Like, you can get injuries if you're training, if you're overtraining. I literally, actually, I'm really glad I took that week off, because then it really set the bar for me. So, one, I would not advise running in the morning or earlier in the day when you have any sports, anything later in the evening, because your legs will definitely be lead bricks.
So you're going to start lifting on hockey days.
Yes, I am.
That's what you're saying.
I am saying that. Yes.
I wish this damn truck that's in the background down the street would fucking finally back up so it'd stop beeping. Holy shit. Welcome back to the garage. Yeah, welcome back to the garage.
But I'm
you're
glad
going to hear it.
I had that week off just because it helped me, I had like kind of a baseline. Like, okay, definitely don't do that. You're going to have to switch the days that you're running. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Easy to do. Whatever. But then I was thinking out loud yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I know I'm like changing all this stuff, but I probably also should delete or scale back or just do every other week on the second like short run of the week, because I do have hockey on Tuesday nights.
I mean, that counts. It's totally endurance training. It's
you just have to, it's another one of those things, like listen to your body and let it guide you down the correct path.
And your puzzle might look a little different from someone else's, but the finished product is what matters.
Yes.
So if your puzzle pieces are different, that's okay. Make them fit the way that you need to make them fit.
Yes.
However makes sense for you is the best way to do it.
Yes.
And if you have a trainer that you try to talk about these things with, because sometimes you're going to have differences in mantras. It happens. It happens. If you don't always agree, you're not always supposed to agree with your trainer. Like, we're here to like guide you, but at the end of the day, you're the fucking master of your destiny, and you're the one that ultimately can say, no, fuck you, I'm not going to do that. So like you have these differences sometimes in, not necessarily mantra, but like discipline.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like just different little things. But if your trainer gives you major pushback when you come with feedback, like, hey, I really like this, but can we adjust it to work with a pre-existing activity I already have planned? And if they're just like, absolutely not, find a new trainer.
Yeah. Yeah. They like ultimately at the end of the day,
they're supposed to be on your team.
Trainer is supposed to put things in place for you to attain your goals, whatever those may be.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have other things that you're doing in your life that if it fits in, like they should meet you where you're at.
Yes.
They should always meet you where you're at.
Yes. Maybe that's the fucking thing that was beeping. Good day, sir.
Bye.
Have a great day. Buen dia, senor. So we pulled this from a Psychology Today article, and it's very true, but change is your natural state of being. I mean, think about it. We're constantly changing. Our bodies are literally metabolizing and growing and tearing down and all these other different fucking things all at the same time. Like, change is natural.
Yep.
Like, that's the most, like, holistic, I think, basic way that you can look at it. Like, change is.
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
It's ever going. You can either decide to try to keep up with it or you can be left behind. That's your choice. But there's a difference. So they say there's a difference between making the change and allowing change. The way that we use words when we talk about change can indicate on a subconscious level of our collective mind that in order to make any kind of change, that force is required and that active action is necessary. You can make passive changes.
Yes.
Like, it's not always going to have to be, oh my God, I need to make this change, otherwise my life is ruined.
Right.
Like, and that doesn't have to be it.
It's really important to, like, we talk about context all the time, but think about how words or even your thoughts have impact and intent behind them. And they can infect intent, but they can also affect intent. And while you may not be ready for change, if you're thinking of it as something that you're being forced to do, think about that. Like, if you're being forced to change something, how resistant you are.
Yeah.
I know I'm not alone there, because if TikTok has taught me fucking anything, it's that I am in no way individual in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But naturally, as human beings, you're going to be more resistant to that.
Yeah.
That's just how we are.
I mean, me as a basic function, if someone says you have to do this, I'm like, the fuck I do.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
No, you get to do this, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yep.
Like, it's all in how you frame it.
Yes.
Honestly, it's all in how you frame it. And if it's something that you think about often, it's a sign that maybe you should be changing it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't necessarily have to be negative feelings that you get from thinking about it often, but if it's on your mind constantly, maybe it's worth fucking tackling.
Yeah. or looking into, or, you know, like what have you. If you, especially like when I think about fitness and nutrition, like if you are really fucking bored and you feel like you're being forced to like, you know, keep doing said thing.
Like we've all been there at this point.
Then at that point, it's probably time to look at changing up your programming, changing up what you're eating, you know, just coming at it from a different way. And that's why conversations are important, because you might get something from somebody that you hadn't thought of, like, oh my God, I actually do love that.
Yeah.
Let me try that.
Yeah. And like when you feel that way, that's when you can dip into the fucking cesspool of social media to see what like interests you.
Right.
Like recipes. You can go through Food Talk or Insta Food or whatever hashtags whatever you prefer to use. You could look at workouts. You can scope new coaches if that's what you're into. You know, like you can gather ideas. When we say stay in your lane, we're talking about when you're working on your shit. But if you need new ideas, go. The world is your fucking oyster.
You're still staying in your lane by doing that. You're just branching out.
Doing some research.
You're expanding your lane. It's construction in the summer in the fucking Midwest.
Dude. Oh my God. Is 120th of Maple ever going to fucking get fixed?
I don't fucking know.
It's
Jesus
worse
Christ,
than
they
it
worked
was
on
last year.
the fucking Dodge Expressway for like 17 years.
I mean, yeah.
Nobody knows what we're talking about unless you live in Omaha, Nebraska specifically.
The Dodge Expressway, and I was like, wait, they're going to put an expressway above us?
Yeah.
And we're going to go under it? Because I was from nowhere, Iowa. I was like, this is what a concept, huh?
What is this space age place that we're living?
You city folk are wild. I live by corn, next to more corn. But you can totally enact change in your life in many different ways. It can be a small thing that can lead up to a big thing, which we recommend a lot. We talk about that when you're setting goals. Making changes is no different than setting a goal, because a goal is you making changes to reach said goal.
Yes.
Hello. Hi. We are here. But like the way that you frame it to yourself, those conversations with yourself, that mindfulness is super important. And you've heard us talk about it fucking ad nauseum on mental health checks. Again, we're not therapists. We've gone to a lot of therapy and read a lot of self-help books because we're fucked up.
I was just going to say, we speak from experience because we are fucked up.
We are damaged goods through and through.
But that's why people love us so much.
My bag fell off the fucking baggage escalator thingy to the airplane many times.
Yep. But that's what, like, framing is so important, because like when I think about change and like it's also how people approach you with something too. But if I think about it as an opportunity versus like I get to do this, I get to evolve this, I get to just changing that framework instead of saying I have to.
Yeah. And so when you bring up who presents the change too, when we talk about taking criticism from people, if it's someone that you wouldn't fucking listen to for advice on how to cook your dinner, like don't let them tell you that you need to change shit about yourself.
Right.
If it's coming from someone close to you that's like, hey, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
Might be worth listening to.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if they're not combative, you shouldn't be combative either. That's a general good rule of life and conversation in general. If someone's coming at you in a non-combative tone, don't be combative back.
Yeah. Just because, if they're hitting on something that is making you feel defensive, there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. Don't like
introspection.
Yes. Don't like latch onto it in that moment, but it's probably worth looking into. 9 times out of 10, when I'm starting to feel defensive about something, it's probably a truth. And it's something that I don't like that someone else is pointing out to me. So
no one likes to be called out.
No, we really don't. But if you're feeling defensive about it, realize that person is probably coming from a place of care for you.
Yes.
And you know, when it comes to fitness and your nutrition journey, like if someone's approaching you in a way, which it's kind of a touchy subject to approach anybody in that way.
It can be.
Just, you know, listen. You don't have to actively converse back, but you know.
I mean, there's a way of knowing that someone is looking out for you with the best intent, or someone is trying to rip you down.
Yes.
And you know that person and yourself best, so that is, fully your discretion. Sure. But like self-talk, when we talk about flipping the script, like if you get to the place where you think about the change as like this inevitable thing that's just going to happen.
Flow of life.
It's a lot easier to let it just fucking happen.
Life is all about ebbs and flows, man.
Yeah.
Your fitness journey specifically is definitely not fucking linear.
No, because you are going to get bored, or you might get injured, or you might move and you don't have a gym yet. Right. Or like there's so many different factors.
There's a tragedy that happened in your life.
Like, we don't live in a vacuum.
No.
We live in so when we talk about like just the grind culture. It's because we fucking live in the United States.
Yeah.
It ain't like this other places. We were talking about this in my physical therapy session the other day because I was a couple minutes late. I was like, sorry, I lived in Puerto Rico for 5 years. I'm just on island time forever. Like those people, if they're 20 minutes late for a hair appointment, it's like, yeah, whatever. You get there eventually. Like, ain't like that here. It ain't like that here. Everything's 24 hours and it needs to be here fucking now or yesterday or like take a break.
Yeah.
And like look around and think about the stuff that you need to do to make your life the best that it can be right now with all the other wild fucking shit that's going on in the place that we're in. Like, take that time to smell the fucking roses, dude. You owe it to yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And like we said, we've touched on this in the past, but sometimes you just outright get bored on the path that you're on and when you're in the gym. And sometimes you get interested in a different method of training. You're like, that looks fucking fun. What are they doing?
I want to be a ninja warrior.
Right.
Fucking go.
Yeah, do it.
Be the best goddamn ninja warrior you can be, my friend.
Right.
Go.
And however this comes about, like, because like we just said, it's not linear, it requires a change in programming. So we are going to get into that. Like, what are we getting at? We touched on this briefly earlier, but I just recently completely fucking reworked everything that I was doing. Sorry, I can't do this.
We were gonna see if anybody commented.
I just can't. I'm like trying to read. I'm like, I feel like a weirdo.
It's so shiny.
I just recently totally changed it. So I was powerlifting, and I was lifting 5 days a week, active recovery day, and then full on rest day. And I did all my 1 rep maxes. I retested. I did all of that. I fucking killed it for my personal journey. I was satisfied with it. I did start to get bored with it. And then I was like, well, actually, I probably need to start training from market to market. But that's why I took that whole week off, because I was like, going from that and lifting that many days a week to then only being like doing 3 is quite a bit of a change. And like, for me, it requires a mindset shift completely. Like, I'd be like, you know, it's going to be fucking humid. It's going to be fucking hot. There's going to be days where it's a grind. Shit, this morning I ran 3 miles and my time was fucking absolutely horrid. But it was humid out.
Like a bazillion degrees.
But that's what I'm saying. And I normally, like last time I was training for this, I was really hard on myself because it's in the middle of fucking summer in the Midwest. It's always humid here. It's always really hot. I did not mentally prepare for that. That's why I needed the mindset shift. That's why I took the week off, because I had to get my head there. Yeah. The time right now doesn't fucking matter. My pace right now does not fucking matter.
The
right
fact
now,
that you're started.
It's about mileage and just going and grinding through shit. Because in the beginning, it's always fucking rough. Yep. Especially, I haven't ran at all since March. I did a 10K in March and then I did not run again.
Yeah, and you were miserable because that 10K was cold and windy.
And I did not prep for that at all. I ran 3 miles like 2 days before that, and I was sore for 2 fucking days.
You pulled a 10K out of your ass.
I did.
It was great. I loved it.
But it's that mindset shift. So, you know, like I also then had an opportunity this week to be like, okay, well, what I'm currently have set up is not going to work. Okay. So just have to shift it a little bit again. But if I went into that cold and was just like, I just have to do this instead of I've arrived, I'm actually doing this. Yep. It would have mentally been a lot more tough for me. And I wouldn't have ground through those 3 miles this morning. 3 miles isn't a lot, but it's also not a little.
Yeah, no, these are like, when we talk about grit, this is the grit shit. Like, you showed up and you did it, even though you fucking sweat through your sports bra 5 minutes into your fucking warm-up. Yeah. Like, and when we talk about change in your training, if you're changing sports, it's only reasonable to change your training going around the sport. Because think about it, if you're participating in a sport, all of your training is going to be focused on making you better at said sport.
Optimal at that sport, yep.
Like, it could be football, it could be basket, it doesn't fucking matter. Every single sport has specific things that will complement your training to make you better at that sport. Yep. There are going to be core movements, of course, that are going to help benefit you all around, regardless of what you do. Yes. But, like, it's only natural to think about changing your training if you're swapping sports. Oh, yeah. So also become okay with that. You're just broadening your horizons. Yes. It's like trying new recipes. It's like buying a new cookbook. You're buying a new cookbook. Because fitness and cooking are very similar. Yes. I mean, let's be honest. They require a lot of practice. You fuck it up a lot. Most of the time it's ugly, but you got it done. They're the same. They really are the same. They're 2 different disciplines, but they are very much sharing a Venn diagram of shit that they have in common. So like when you talk about training for sport, it only makes sense that like things are going to be tweaked for the sport. Like hockey specific training, I don't know. I haven't trained a hockey player yet, but I'm sure that there's certain activities that they do that are going to make them better equipped on the ice than say a football player.
Yes, exactly.
Or even a soccer player. Hockey and soccer are very similar, but also still very different.
Yes. Yep. And the other thing too is to keep in mind that you're probably going to need to add, if you're not already doing it, some more mobility stuff for that specific thing that you're switching up for. So if you're going from like, maybe you're super into HIIT training, but you're getting bored with it and you're like, I kind of am interested in powerlifting, you're going to want mobility stuff incorporated in. Even if it's on your rest day, adding like 10, 12 minutes of yoga will greatly benefit you. But that's why we talk about why goals are so important all the time, because it helps you lay out the framework for attaining those goals.
Yeah.
It's super important to have a plan. It is. To have goals.
You know the saying, fail to plan,
yes.
plan to fail. It's like that. I mean, your training does need to be laid out in advance. You need to know what you're doing, when you're going to do it, why you're doing it. Yes. Obviously, that's the most important part. And that's why it's important to take time in doing these things so you can figure out why you're doing them.
Yes, exactly.
I'm currently in like the rehab phase of my post-surgical process. So my workouts are looking like nothing like what they used to. And they're fucking just beating my ass right now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're just world enders right now. They're like 5 minutes on the bike, and I'm like, okay. Straighten your leg. Ow.
Right.
Like, humbling. Humbling is the word I'm going to use. Because things I used to rip off as a no-brainer warm-up, like 10 squat holds, can't even fucking do one right now.
Yeah.
A quarter squat on a 23-inch box is difficult right now because you lose a lot of range of motion and shit when you have surgery. Plus, it takes you a long time to baby that stuff back. Like, I've also had to come to terms with the fact that it's going to take me a minute to get back to this shit. Because what happens when you get hurt and you have to restrict activities is, like, you just have to do it. Either you do it or you don't do it, and you feel worse. Yeah. So, like, those are your options. And such is life. Like, I'll squat 205 again. It's just not going to be right now.
Right. Yeah. Like, change is fucking terrifying, though, too. Right? So, like, it just is. Period.
Always. It's never not.
I think about, like, I think about it a lot this way. Like, do you want to hang out with the person, like you said at the top, that you were 10, 12 years ago? I posted a meme actually not that long ago that basically said something to the effect of, I don't know who the fuck that person was that was posting for me on Facebook in 2008, but I don't know them and I don't like them. Like, for real.
Dude.
Definitely.
When you learn that your live journal still exists out in the ether.
I know mine is out there, but I will not go find it because I was such a fucking, like...
For me, it was great insight.
Everything was wrong.
It makes total sense, though, looking back, because it gave me clarity on a lot of things that I wasn't sure actually happened.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was, it's interesting to see 17-year-old me talking about trying to get on a bus at a show at Sokol Auditorium to hang out with a band on a school night.
Right.
Why the fuck was I in Omaha when I had to be at school the next day?
Yeah.
Also, like, but whatever. My parents were probably at the bar, so they didn't fucking know. I didn't have to tell them where I went as long as I was home by midnight. So, like, you know, like, I have some great fucking stories of some really fun shit that I did with my friends that was probably incredibly dangerous that I should never do again. But overall, I don't want to fucking invite that bitch over for dinner.
No.
She's a miserable person.
She was a fucking train wreck for me.
I just would be like, go to therapy.
Right. Please get some help. Change can actually be really fucking fun. So... I won't get into like too nitty gritty and stuff, but especially with like my career in fitness, for me, it's been just really fun, like looking back and seeing just like the evolution. Yeah. We had an event, last night actually, and it was like a full circle moment. It's like the show that I started my internship on when I was like finishing up college. They got back together and did a live show, but it was like every single iteration of that show I've been a part of in some way. Yeah. And like seeing like where I was and what I was doing 10 years ago to what I'm doing now has been just like, it's kind of cool to look back on. And a lot of it was scary. I left the station that I started on And I don't have regrets. I think that regretting things is a waste of time. You either learn from it or you don't. And that's kind of it. Shit happens, and sometimes there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it.
Except for to walk away.
Right. Yeah. Or, find whatever closure you can. But, when I left that station, that was really fucking terrifying because I wasn't sure if that was the right decision. It ended up not being the right decision, but the reason it was important. It was
part of your story arc, though.
But I was just going to say, the reason it was important and why it had to happen is because I couldn't have landed at a better spot now. But if that key part hadn't happened, I don't know that I would be at where I'm at right now.
I think about that often. Anytime I get an email from work or whatever, dude, 14 years ago, I was some fucking peon intern on a morning show doing donut drops. And now they're the same people fucking run the podcast division of the company. And it's just what a beautiful fucking glow up for all of us. Seriously. Getting the shit that we deserved after we got shat on so many times in this fucking industry in this city. But that's bochinche for another fucking day, my friend. But it's just awesome to see how, especially with all of us, because we've all been in each other's orbit for a really long time in some capacity, just to see how we've all grown separately, but also together.
I think about this a lot, just the people individually, how they've grown and evolved, and even from starting with the company I'm at now to now, 2 years later, dude, just seeing how people have evolved.
That's been a completely different, awesome roller coaster ride of its own too, because we were brought on right before all this shit happened, and it's just whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then thinking too about the ebb and flow and the very much up and down, just fucking weirdness that a fitness journey is. I actually got a notification from Memories on, I think it was Facebook, a few weeks ago. That was from 6 or 7 years ago, where I went to the gym by myself for the first time, an actual Globo gym. I'd worked out when I worked at my previous job, at the company facilities or whatever all the time.
Yeah, because I had a gym.
Yeah, but then going by myself, I couldn't figure out how to fucking get this bike to work, and tagged my friend who had brought me there, and then the first place I was never fucking let me go again by myself. And now I feel I don't know, I'm just in a really good place. I was so uncertain of myself when I started my fitness journey. I've always been in and out of the gym the majority of my life, but when I actually started following a program, not just, doing things just to say I did them type of a deal. The confidence I've gained because of that, and honestly, because of this podcast, fitness has become a very important part of my life, and also an important part of who I am. I push myself mentally. I know that I'm capable of doing so many things, and I wouldn't know those things if it wasn't for being in the gym.
And that's the part of it that's important too. We talked about it last week when we talk about physical therapy. You get that confidence through strength. You can doubt yourself with thoughts all day long, but at the end of the day, it's black and white there on the fucking paper. The shit that you did and the weight that you moved.
And no one can take that from you.
No, you did that. No one fucking did that for you. I think it was some supplement store has a tagline, or they used to, you can't fake strong, and it's true. You can't fake a fucking 205 squat. You might be able to Photoshop it later, but that's
that's
dumb
weird.
And a lot of work and strange. That's some Kardashian level bullshit
weird.
Right there. But we know that you don't fucking have perfect legs, Kim. You don't have to fucking Photoshop yourself. We don't.
I have been enjoying seeing some of the athletic wear companies posting their athletes that are ambassadors or whatever, and not photoshopping out cellulite. Everybody, it's natural.
Yes.
Bodies age. Sorry for a side tangent, but that just made me think of that for some reason.
If you hang out at this podcast, I feel like you show up for the side tangent.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's the fucking spicy little nugget on the top of whatever random thing we're talking about that day. But yeah, no, it's important to be yourself. It's important to change. And it's okay to be both and do both.
Yeah. Two things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
I also think back on, just the changes I've had. I mean, obviously the changes I've had mentally because of this journey has been huge.
Yeah.
But I don't weigh myself and then focus on that number anymore.
I don't even
either.
weigh myself.
I used to. I weigh myself in the morning and I weigh myself in the evening, and I'd be upset if my weight fluctuated at all. Which now, when I think back on that, I'm like, gosh, I just wish someone had told me. And that's why we think it's
here.
Exactly. That's why we think it's so important to keep talking about these things, because it is normal for your weight to fluctuate. And honestly, like, that is not the greatest indicator of actual change. Just because the number changed on the scale doesn't mean that you have done anything bad or whatever.
Is way more important than what a fucking digital number on a scale says.
1,000%.
That digital number on the scale could even be arbitrary. It might not even be right, because scales aren't all calibrated the same.
Exactly.
So don't put that much fucking worth in that stupid fucking thing that lives next door to your toilet. Like,
but I needed that part of the journey to happen, just because, otherwise, I mean, I think you have to live through it and like get through the changes, but like mentally, it's like that number doesn't fucking. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. After you do it for long enough, again, you can't fake it. Like, you have the black and white proof that you fucking know what you're doing and you're doing the thing.
Yes.
But like, what'll really make you grow as a person? Doing something that completely takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So like for me, the first really big like thing I did moving out of my comfort zone was I left a shitty small town I lived in college, and that was a pretty big deal. But then after that, I was like, all right, this place is whatever. The people here are great. The place it's a fucking place. It's fine. But I was like, we had the opportunity to fuck off to the Caribbean. I was like, yo, sign me up.
Yeah.
Without a thought. I was like, yeah, this is going to be terrifying, and this is going to be a lot of work, and this might suck for a little bit while I get it set up, but I'm going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
And like, nothing makes you more sure of yourself than biting off something that you're not entirely sure that you can totally chew.
Yeah.
We did it. We pulled it off in the span of 4 months. Fucking did it. Rocked it. It was awesome. We recommend it to everybody. If you can fucking do it, like, go live somewhere completely different than where you are. Yeah, it's hard. It's scary. It's weird.
It's a big change.
But like, I didn't really, I took 2 years of high school Spanish, and I moved to somewhere where fucking Spanish is like, they speak English too, but like Spanish is the main language unless you're in like the touristy areas. But it's completely different Spanish than what they teach you in school. Yeah. We learned Castellano Spanish in high school. Puerto Rican Spanish is like a creature entirely of its own. So if you see me on Twitter posting in Spanish and the Twitter translate makes zero fucking sense, you're not alone. It doesn't know what it's doing. Yeah. It just doesn't know what it's doing. But like, go do something that you think is awesome, but also scares you the same amount.
Yeah.
Climb that fucking mountain. Ride that fucking road race, run the fucking marathon, practice for it, prepare for it, make sure that you're ready to go, and you'll fucking crush it.
Fucking blow yourself away.
Yeah.
The first half marathon I did, it was COVID year, and I had to run it by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that is maybe the most challenging thing I've ever done fitness-wise ever, and honestly, mentally. It was rough. Because
you don't have the other racers there trying to like push you along with like, oh, okay, well, this is where I'm at. I know that what this is. Oh, no, you're like, completely on your own.
Like literally, like if you think it looks fun or you want to challenge yourself, sign up for this stuff.
Yeah.
All you have to do is make sure you've got a training plan. You've got to train for stuff.
The worst that happens is you show up and you suck, but you still have fun.
Who cares? You still fucking did it.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Be grateful that you have the ability to go do that thing. Because not everybody has the same opportunities that you do.
Yep.
We all have our own, different little privileges and opportunities just based on our little microcosm that we live in. And that's fine. Like, nobody's going to shame you for it if you're using it to the right way. But, like, just be aware that we all have different advantages or disadvantages in our lives, and that something that you take for granted could totally be something that someone else is striving for that seems unrealistic.
Yeah.
So, like, think about that, too. Again, mindfulness.
Yes.
Mindfulness is great.
But
like changing careers. Yeah, changing careers is scary. Yes, I went from radio to podcasting. Is it that much different? No. Is it different enough that it fucking freaked me the shit out?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I'm like, I don't know about fucking Libsyn, or I don't know about, I was like, help. But it's scary. It's scary to switch gears, and especially when it is something that is part of who you are to a point where it is kind of your identity because you've done it for so long. Yeah. Like, it's scary to A, shed that, and B, try to take on something else that you're not even sure that you're going to be good at. Yeah. And you might not be good at it at first. That's okay. Everybody sucks at the beginning. Go listen to our first fucking episode. It's terrible. I mean, it's great because it's our first episode, and I'm proud that we fucking pulled the trigger and we did it, but we talk all over each other. We didn't have any fucking notes. It was 15 minutes long. I somehow nailed it with a couple of taglines in there that I pulled out of my ass. I'm super proud of that, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Like, our first episode is a dog shit taco. And that's okay. Now we're coming up 2 episodes from now on episode 100, and it's a completely different fucking thing that we do.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to keep learning, and that's something that I always like to talk about, too. Like, I feel like I'm always trying to learn something different because as an anxiety brain person, it's good for me to have different, like, focuses to fixate on. If one thing isn't, like, really exciting me that day,
Right.
I can think about X, Y, or Z. So learn new things inside and outside of the gym.
Yeah.
Be that, new sports, new cooking techniques. If you want to take a class on something that looks interesting to you, like if you want to get your certification, fucking go.
Yeah.
If you have the availability to do it, do it. What's stopping you?
Literally.
Seriously.
Like, yourself, probably.
Not to like egg you on, but what's fucking
but
stopping you?
Do it. Like, again, of course, change can elicit fear. Like sometimes even just the word or thinking about something that's changing can like make you a little stressed out or anxious. But sometimes, and more often than not, change is going to improve your life.
Yeah.
Changing. Right? Sometimes you don't even notice in the moment that it's happening, that things are changing or that you're evolving.
And that's good. Because then it sneaks up on you and you're like, shit, I did that.
Right, exactly.
Damn.
But when you have the opportunity and look back on it, it's really pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when you apply that to your fitness journey, you're just going to fucking amaze yourself. And it's unavoidable. So
You're awesome.
We love
fucking
you.
deal with it.
buy merch, buy programming,
Yeah.
do the stuff. You can go to the link on our bio on any social media page to find anything that you might need that we offer, or the notes are on meatheadtestkitchen.com. You can send us an email, hello@meatheadtestkitchen. We're everywhere on social at Meathead Test Kitchen, except for Twitter. We're at MTK Staff.
Quit fucking doom scrolling. Just delete Twitter off your phone.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Go do the fucking thing and sign up for whatever you want to sign up for. Challenge yourself. We believe in you.
Do it.
MTK.
Out.
Join Sadie and Sausha every Monday, helping to make your fitness and nutrition journey suck less. MTK.